Hey everybody, this is Guro Francis, Big Boy Screamador, and today's another episode of Bayani Talk. Hey everybody, this is Guro Francis, Big Boy Screamador, and today's another episode of Bayani Talk, and today we're going to be talking about Filipino martial arts industry and the pandemic. So, regardless of what you believe or whatnot, you know that the pandemic has definitely made an impact on the world. Especially within the martial arts industry and especially within the Filipino martial arts industry. We were very much excited to have the 2020 World Championship, GSBA World Championship in Florida, but of course, Florida, with being the hot zone that it was definitely wasn't going to happen. But everything was pretty much locked down, so everything had to shift. You know, before in GSBA, in order for you to compete at the World Championship, you have to compete first at the regional level, and then if you win there, then you're invited to the national level, and then at the national level, you then compete at the world level. But now, with the way things are, things have to be reshifted. I know that there's some things that are, like what are we going to do with the existing current world champions, and then we have another national championship. We have another new Team USA. How do we deal with that? And then how do we deal with evolving, COVID restrictions and for venues and whatnot? What do we do? Now, I know, for example, for me, for Bayani, Battle of Bayani, the tournament that we host here at 413 Media Group, along with Kim Paulin, one of the things that we do is that one of the things that I'm very adamant about is making sure that the tournaments are always done indoors. I know I have a lot of colleagues that decides to do tournaments at parks and whatnot, and hey, to each of them. But the problem is, even though I live in Southern California and even though weather here is absolutely gorgeous 98% of the time, there's still that 2% of the time where, it pretty much it rains sometimes too. So it's really hard as a tournament coordinator and tournament owner to host a tournament outdoors, hoping that it's not going to rain. A lot of the things that tournament owners would do is that they will actually use a lot of the revenue that they've generated from registration to fund for the tournament, right? So if you use those funds and then all of a sudden the restrictions kicks in, like you can't have an indoor tournament, what do? You have to refund everybody's money, but you've already spent most of it, and unfortunately some places, like some venues, won't even give you a refund because, well, they're hurting too, and I get that. I absolutely get that. That it's very difficult for us to host tournaments. And now that things are, more and more people are getting vaccinated. By the way, this is not a forum to discuss the merits of the vaccine or not. It's just saying that now that things are starting to open up again, now things are starting to become more of a possibility for us to do these tournaments and to do these events, seminars and whatnot. In fact, as I'm filming this, I'm planning to do a seminar in Olympia, Washington, the next week. So yeah, things, we have to do something. We have to be safe, of course, but we need to also start doing something to promote the industry. And one of the things that, I had to start brainstorming, one of the main things that I had to do was I had to stop thinking how I run a tournament as I would in a pre-pandemic world. I would have to run the tournament now in a post-pandemic setting. I can't do that in the way it was done before. I have to start thinking differently. So, for example, like I had mentioned to you earlier, that one of the main things that I do is I never do tournaments outdoors because it might rain. Well, now because of evolving COVID restrictions, I don't want to host a tournament indoors and then all of a sudden it gets shut down because of COVID restrictions. Now here in California, the restrictions have been, there were some moments where it was super strict, but there were many times where it was also that as long as you're working outdoors, that you're okay, right? So I'm thinking now I have to start changing the way I think. I have to start changing the way I do tournaments. So now I'm not going to, but the next tournaments that I'm going to be hosting, I'm not going to do it indoors. I'm going to do it outdoors. And because regardless of whether or not the restriction gets put back in place, being outdoors, the likelihood of being shut down is a lot less because now I'm outdoors. Second thing that I second thing that we have to do is, of course, we have to make sure that all the equipment, the one that we're going to be passing out to people are sanitized. So we're going to have to deal with that. Those are the kind of things. But then how do we run it as a business? How do I still make this as a profitable endeavor? Well, the one thing that we have to keep in mind is that during the pandemic, that there's a lot of people that are hurting as well, but they don't want a handout. They just want a hand up, in a sense where like they just want, they can get up themselves, but if somebody can help them up, then that's okay. So I've always been an advocate of this. Like, I think as an industry, we need to support each other. And that's the first thing that I will definitely be leaning on when it comes to planning the next tournament, is how to depend more on each other on making this done. So one of the things that we're looking at into doing is making registration really low cost. Now, what that amount is I don't know yet, and I'm not gonna give a number out here right now. That's just that all of a sudden people are gonna get disappointed if that number changes. But even before the pandemic, 413 Media Group, Battle Bayani, Kim Paulin, and I, we've always been doing it where we charge only one price for unlimited division. I don't care if you're signing up for one division or you're signing up for all of them. We're always doing things. We are always charging one price for unlimited division. I know I've had some people kind of grimace at me when I do that, but at the same time, no, that's what I think is what's going to be beneficial for the tournaments. And then, of course, second thing is I never charge spectator fees. I always believe that when it's time for families to enjoy the tournaments, it's time for them to, they shouldn't have to pay. So I'm still going to kind of keep it within that model. Just the amount of how much I'm going to be charging per fighter might differ a little bit. The reason why I can't give you guys a number is because I'm trying to find a way to keep the cost as low as possible. Okay, but this is where I know that other people in the industry are also hurting. So we have to be able to put this together. Now, in order for us to have a really successful tournament, the number one problem that we've always had is the lack of judges and referees. I mean, I get it. Being a judge is stressful, and you don't want to make the wrong call. I absolutely get that, and everybody's got different perspective as far as what you consider as a good technique and as a bad technique. Those are the kind of things. I know I've heard this many times before. Why don't we create a baseline technique? Well, everybody still has different perspective and different biases on their own. But as long as, and I know, like, one of the hardest things is that people kind of attack judges and referees. They attack them because they don't like the call. They don't agree with the call. I've had several times where I've been called a cheat and whatnot because they didn't like the way that the match ended, like they didn't win. Well, the one thing that the people have to recognize, that person judging, like myself, is just there as a volunteer. They're not getting paid for that. They're there. And trust me, no matter how fancy my tournament's going to be, without judges and referee, we won't have a tournament. Okay, it's not going to be. The quality of competition is not going to be there. So, I mean, I'm not saying that judges are infallible. They're humans. They make mistakes. So that's what's really difficult. So if we're now, just to kind of go back, the only way we're going to survive now, if I decide to open up another tournament, which I will, I'm going to lean again on the FMA industry, and I'm going to need as much judges and as much referees as we can. Ideally, we run 3 rings, but if we can run 6, imagine how much faster the tournament can run. Now, I know the people that runs the tournament, which happens to be my teacher, Master Sunny and Linda Napio, they can run up to as many rings as we need to, but we just are lacking those judges and referees. So if we can get more people within the FMA industry or even martial arts industry, we have set up kind of like a mentorship program where somebody who's experienced are going to judge, and then the person that they're training is sitting next to them. Let them judge a few matches, and then afterwards they switch while that mentor is still sitting next to them, so that they can ask direct questions. And then after they're comfortable, then we let them do that. We also offer rules workshop where we teach the judges and referee about the rules and of the tournament. So we do offer those things. So we're not just throwing you in the deep end. So hopefully the people who are watching this, if when I announce that I'm hosting a tournament, I really hope there's going to be a strong turnout of volunteerism. Did I say that right? Of a strong turnout of volunteers for judges and referees, so that we can revitalize our tournaments again. The second thing that we also need to do is, we're already starting to think, like, how can we bring in more people? Well, I am proud to announce through this video that we are hosting a lightsaber division. Okay, it's gonna be padded engagement style, but it's gonna be lightsabers where you could either use the straight long lightsabers, or you can go use the Mando Core, which is gonna be the primary sponsor of my upcoming tournament. Mando Core Eskrima or FMA lightsabers. They're amazing. They're the same length as a regular stick, right? And and then we're gonna have open weapons division where you can fight with either the long sword, either single or double Eskrima lightsabers, or you can even use the double edge, the staff one. That's an amazing thing. That's my favorite toy. But yeah, those are hopefully this is gonna bring new blood into the industry. We're gonna have new fighters that are coming in that are just lightsaber guys, and they're gonna experience they're gonna have experienced judges and referees to help them do that. And at the same time, I know that every FMAer wants to be a Jedi, so you'll be able to finally fulfill that fantasy of ours of becoming a Jedi. So, but yeah, as far as this tournament's concerned, that's what we're gonna need to do, guys. That's what we're gonna need to do as an industry, as a group, to be able to run these tournaments. Now, there's a lot of other things that I have working up in my head, and I will disclose those as we get closer to that date. But first things first is that we got to start thinking running tournaments post-pandemic world instead of a pre-pandemic world, like having it outdoors. And secondly, we're gonna still need judges and referees in order for us to make a successful tournament, so that we can revitalize this. And third, we are adding a new type of division, which is the lightsaber division. I don't know, do you guys agree? Do you believe in these are the steps that we need to do to revitalize the FMA tournament industry? Comment down below. And if you are looking for a school that does do these competition, and you're in Riverside and Orange County area, please visit us, our sister company, at www.fmaschool.com. We offer, keep in mind that, FMA School, which is a subsidiary of Visayas Legacy, we not only have one world champion, we have 3, and every stable of Visayas Legacy has at least 2 world champions. So this is a school of champions. So go visit, if you're looking into doing that, again, visit them at www.fmaschool.com. Until then, my name is Guro Francis, Big Boy Screamador. Peace out, God bless, and keep swinging them sticks.